Hello friends. Now I would like to invite you for lecture series 3 in unit 2 commercial banking structure and functions. Friends, we have already studied various things about the commercial banking in our previous classes. Now in this class we need to study about the core banking system and check truncation system. These are the two important technological development happened in the banking system, and this has totally changed the scenario of a banking. So let us understand each one of them in detail. What is core banking? What is check truncation system? Uh, if you see the core banking system, you you will find that whole banks are single bank. The branches of all the banks are consolidated and brought under a single platform. Core banking refers to a centralized system established by a bank which allows its customer to conduct their business irrespective of the bank's branch. Thus, it removes the impediments of geospecific transactions. In fact, CORE is the acronym for Centralized Online Real-Time Exchange. Thus, the bank's branches can access applications from centralized data centers. Simple example, what is the concept of this core banking? Core banking refers to all the bank branches are centralized through online connectivity, and any transaction can be made from any branch irrespective of the customer opening the accounts in specific branch. That is what we call as core banking system. In a core banking, there is no a branch bank like. There is no branch bank like. Any customer opening an account in any of the branches can operate his account through any other branches all over the country. All over the country. Even nowadays, even it is in abroad also. That is what we call as core banking concept. Here, all the bank's branches are consolidated and brought on a single centralized place virtually, and transactions can carry out. Simple example, if a student of MBA opens an account in VTU SBI branch, State Bank of India branch, he will get the account details and everything anywhere in the say country. Suppose if he is from Punjab and opened an account in VTU branch Belgavi, he can operate his account from Punjab, State Bank of India. He can deposit the money, he can withdraw the money. That is what we call as core banking concept. Nowadays, even the bank names are also not there. Even any bank can provide the core banking facility to customers. Like for example, if he has an account in State Bank of India, he can withdraw the money from the ATM from Union Bank, or he can withdraw the money from even any other banks. That is allowed. This consolidation activity is called as core banking. That is a centralized online real-time exchange facility. What is this centralized online? By by connectivity of internet, a centralized data is developed in a one place, specific place. It is called as internet hub of data of a bank, and on real time basis exchanges happen. For example, if you are withdrawing money on a one specific time, at that particular time only your record transactions are recorded. They are not postponed earlier. What used to happen, if you have to withdraw the money before core banking, if you have to withdraw the money, you must and should go personally to the bank where you have an account, and if you want to deposit money also, you should go to the bank where you have an account, right? So where the real time was not happening. Suppose if you go to a bank to withdraw the money when you withdraw, the transaction was closed on that particular day end. But today it is not there because of the Advancement of technology, computerization system, when you withdraw the money on a fraction of second, your account is deducted with the money what you have withdrawn. If you deposit, your money will be added to the deposit account, and the money increase the inflated increased money will be shown in your account. That is what we call as real time account. Earlier, when you deposit the money before the core banking, if you get the passbook entry on the spot, passbook entry was not made by the cashier. He used to tell you to come after some days to enter the passbook, because till then he was doing manually the entry of the transaction. But here it is a real time, on the same time the money will be transaction is recorded and implemented. So it is a very fast activity of banking management. So now if you see the features of the core banking, what are the basic characteristics of this core banking? One is customer on board. Customer on boarding means wherever the customer goes, he has the bank facility. He has the bank facility. He need not required to withdraw the money from his branch and then move around the country. Today, everywhere the bank is available with him. So he is on the board of service of a bank wherever he goes. That is the basic feature of this core banking. Second one is managing deposits and withdrawals. He can deposit money and withdrawals. Earlier in core banking, deposit system was not there, but today even depositing system is also available in machines. He can deposit the money in even in any branch, nearest branch. If machine is not available, he can deposit the money in any nearest branch of that particular bank, uh, and get the facility services. This is what we call as deposit. Withdrawals can be made at any point of time. This is how the core banking talks about. Then transactions management. Transactions are effectively managed. The transaction management, such as deposit, withdrawals, interest calculations, everything is made very effectively on the through the help of the technology. Then interest calculation and management. Interest is calculated very fast. For example, if you withdraw the money, your interest is calculated on the remaining account balance from that particular time when you withdraw the money. All these activities are made by the software or by the technology system and takes care of the customer, where there is no fraud, there is no what you call as a mistake in calculation of interest and all that. Next one is payments processing, cash, checks, mandates, NEFT, RTGS, etc. Payment processes are also made by the core banking system. Customer relationship management activities are effectively done, where when you withdraw the money, it is traced and you are given the total amount of transactions, slip, and everything. And apart from that, the data what you have done in the past is given to you whenever you retrieve the data. So this is how relationship management, customers relationship managements are established. Then designing new banking products is very easy. Any new banking products like loans, advances, and all kinds of facilities. So because in one, if the main branch head office makes that particular decision of providing loan products or deposit products or investment plans and all that, this is not only available with the head office, this is available with all the branches, since because of the core banking. Loan dispersal and management is very effective. Accounts management is very effective. Establishing criteria for minimum balances, interest rates. See, in this core banking, it is very easy to manage the customer withdrawals and all that. As you know, the withdrawals are restricted on what you call a savings bank account. If the banker wants to restrict the withdrawal of the savings bank account maximum of 2 times in a week, he can write that program and implement. Once it is implemented, it is applicable everywhere in the all the branches, or even in all the ATM machines. So irrespective of the bank, irrespective of the bank, ATMs, everywhere it is applicable. So these are the best examples of what you call as features of your core banking. And interest rate, suppose it is increased from 4% to 5%. It is applicable in all the banks at the same time within a fraction of second, because this is very fast services that can be provided through technological advancements. These are all the features of the core banking. If you consider the core banking features, solutions, it is having advantages to both customer as well as the bank. The most important advantage that the bankers are arriving out of this core banking are improved operations with address customer demands and industry consolidation. Banking improved operations are very effective, and demands of the industry and requirements are being satisfied through core banking, because the requirement of finance, whenever it is arising, whenever deposit has to happen, many a time the customer should will not spend his unnecessary time to come down to bank and do it, and bankers are also having a free time to operate on their banking activities without addressing the customer. In olden days, to address the customer, there was a customer relationship managers, or there was a customer service wing in every branch, which was a cost affair. But now, because of this core banking, customers now very uh, less customers come to a branch, so it is very easy for the bankers to handle the customer operations. And then reduce errors due to multiple entries. Earlier, this was the basic problem with most of the banking transactions. The multiple entries used to happen, and sometimes entries were not correctly done. There were chance of errors. There were chance of errors. But now, due to the technological advancements, computers are used where a lot of memory is properly maintained, so there is no chance of error in customer transactions entries. Easy availability to introduce a new financial products and manage changes in existing products. Any financial products, if they are to be changed or modifications have to happen, so it can easily be done with the machine. Earlier, if at all any change has to happen, the notice has to circulate to all the bank managers have to implement that. So sometimes it would not have been possible for the bankers to remember all that rules and regulations and all that. But today, due to this technological advancement, it is very too easy to introduce any change in the products. Like for example, if you if your procedure of a loan, say for example, withdrawal sorry, sanction of a loan has to be made. If it is 10% of the property value and all that, the machines will automatically calculate it when you put these things. So rates can easily be changed. Any change in the rate need not require to submit information to all the bank employees, because the message goes to all the employees within a fraction of second. And even if the bankers forget to do it, machine will not allow unless and until that particular rate is charged. So this is how most important help to the bankers, where the bankers are relieved from this kind of changes happening around. Earlier, it was very difficult for the people to implement the change at a quick level, at a very fast. Now it is solved. Then seamless merging of a back office data and self-service operations seamlessly. Old data, whatever it is there with the history of the customer, can be merged together, and self-service operations can be done. Suppose for example, if the customer wanted uh, withdrawals or the banking transactions for the last 2 years, in the olden days, before this core banking, he has to go to his bank, give an application for the 2 years data, and the banker has to take his own time to identify all that and make the manual entry and give a what to call as a report to the customer about 2 years data. So it was very difficult for both banker as well as customer to get the things on time. Suppose if I wanted to take the loan from uh, government or from any other things. If at all the bankers, the customer history is asked by the bank regarding the transactions. If the customer has to provide that information, he has to go to his bank and ask for the data, and then it was taking around 10-15 days for the banker to consolidate all that and give. But today it is not like that. Today, if you want any banking history, if you go to the internet banking system mode and ask for the previous transactions of the last 2 years, just enter a click of a button. Within a fraction of a second, you will get all the transactions from the date when you wanted the information. So this is what seamless, the merging of data. The data is being merged and the processing is being done. No human intervention is there. So therefore, there are no errors are also involved in it. So this is one best advantage to the bankers to provide the best services to the customers. And if you consider the advantages of core banking system to customers, the entire range of banking products, including savings, deposits, accounts, are available from any location. This is one basic advantage that everybody is enjoying. So in fact, all of us are enjoying this facility. Suppose if you deposit money somewhere or having an account in somewhere, you can withdraw the money from any corner of the country with any other branches. So this is one advantages. The details of your banking account in Belgium can be sought from the branch of that particular bank in any place, like even if you go to Jammu and Kashmir also today. So the accessibility through multiple channels, including mobile banking and web. Multiple channels accessibility is there. Multiple channel refers to you can use mobiles, you can use ATMs, you can use bank branches for banking transactions. There is no need that you should go to the bank only. Even on the tip of buttons in your mobiles, you can conduct the banking activities. The payments and all that you can easily make through banking in mobile. So this is another advantage where the banker is there with the customer always. So 24 bar 7 bank service is available with the customer. The next one is accurate, timely, and actionable information about the customer relations. Regarding the accurate and timely information about the customer can be easily brought in. Suppose, for example, if you want to remind the customer that his withdrawal is below the limit, it can be easily communicated through SMSs or through emails and all that, because the information the banker can get within a fingertip about the customer, and automatically it is involved. No bank personal bankers involvement is there. No any what you call as a physical individual involvement is there. Automatically the machine will take care of it once you program that particular action. Suppose if any banker withdraws the money, so it mentions that your withdrawal limit is over. So this is why accurate, timely, actionable information about the customer relations is available with the bank, and banker can easily handle the customer things according to the rules and regulations of the bank. Then single view between bank and customer. There is a single window between the bank and the customer. Banker will provide all the services through that particular core banking window, and customer can avail all that services from a single window. Earlier, if you want loans, payments and all that, you cannot do it on the loan repayments and all that. You cannot do it in the normal branch. You have to go to a loan reimbursement department and then pay money there. But here nowadays all are consolidated. Once you pay the money, giving an account number of your loan, it is automatically taken out. So this is very tedious. Because of this, a lot of employees burden is reduced in the banking activity. Redefining the concept of anywhere, anytime banking. So now, anywhere, anytime means it was claimed by some of the banks earlier before core banking, saying that they have a lot of branches in the country. The indirect ways they have a lot of branches in the country. But now it is redefined. Anywhere, anytime banking means core banking provides banking facilities to any other banks, merging all the banks, and now banking is not only State Bank of India or anything else. Any banking services is there with the customer all the time. It's 24 bar 7. So it is redefining the concept. So it is really happening today with the customer. Earlier, anywhere, anytime, just for the namesake, they used to claim saying that they have a lot of branches, but now it is not like that. It is really happening with the customer. Now, the next development, what has happened today in the banking system is a check truncation system, which is called as CTS. Which is called as CTS. Earlier, before CTS, whenever you put a check for withdrawal in the bank, so the check withdrawal used to happen only when the banker physically examines all the check details, and then it was taking certain time because the check which is received, suppose for example if you have a check drawn on State Bank of India and you are the customer of Union Bank, and suppose if you want to collect the money of the State Bank from Union Bank, you have to go to your branch where your account is there, and you have to submit the check in your Union Bank, and the Union Bank used to collect this check, and the details are not with the Union Bank to pay you the money. Who was paying the money? It is the State Bank of India, because check was drawn on State Bank of India and it is given to you. And if you want to collect that money, you have to go to your branch and submit that. And your Union Bank is not having any details about the check which is drawn by the drawer. For example, if your friend has given you State Bank of India check in your name, and if you go to your bank, that is Union Bank, and submit the check, how can the bank, Union Bank, will check whether the signatures are correct, whether the amount of deposit is there, and whether that check can be paid or not. So therefore, this check was sent back to the State Bank of India on which it is drawn. State Bank of India, after receiving the check, used to find out whether the transaction can be implemented or not, whether the sufficient balance is there or not. If the sufficient balance is there, the check was accepted and the money was transferred to the State Bank of India, from State Bank of India to the Union Bank, where the Dravi Bank is there, and the Dravi Bank used to issue that money to the accounts of the, record that money in the accounts of the person who has submitted the check. So this was taking a lot of time. So once you submit the check, if the check is belonging to other branch and all that, it was taking more than 10 days to settle the check. Within that 10 days, if the customer of that particular SBI bank withdraws the money and does something else, it was causing a trouble to the that person who is withdrawing the money, because in between the time if the transaction happens, then the check was dishonored basically because of not having an account, something like that. So these were all the difficulties involved in the check system, transaction system, what was this truncation system, check collection system. But now this has been totally eradicated through check truncation system and new technology in the banking sector. Now what has happened, through this check truncation system, the banker, some banks come together and create a particular common hub of truncation system. In this truncation system, when the check is received by the branch need not physically send the check to the original branch where the transaction is there. Suppose, for example, if you receive the check of your friend, which is drawn in SBI, and if you submit in Union Bank, now what a Union Bank will do, Union Bank today will just scan the check and send it by mail to that particular truncation system model, not even to the branch of the bank, not even to the SBI. It sends it to the truncation. Truncation is a combined database which is created by all these banks. So that database, when it goes there, there is a one specific office called truncation office. So those office will inquire the check which is received online itself, and they find out any difficulty in the check. Say for example, signature does not match, date is what you call as expired, or the account balance is not there. If it will automatically get observed, and once it can be paid, check is healthy to be paid, so then green information will come and the check is automatically passed. It takes hardly a 1 day time to settle the account of the customers. This is what we call as check truncation system. If you see the meaning of it, normally in examination question will be asked what is the CTS system in banking. Check truncation system is a system of check clearing and settlement between banks based on electronic data, images, or both without any physical exchange of check, that is instrument. There is no physical exchange. The postal department is not involved in transferring the check from one bank to another bank. Earlier it was happening, now it is not happening. Now the scanning machine will electronically transfer the data or the image. Image means the physical picture of that particular check. Data means the information fed by that particular bank. So they both are transferred to a physical to that particular thing, and settlement is done very fast. Or CTS is designed to enable the banks to handle more checks electronically, which should make a check processing faster and more efficient. This is what we call as CTS method. How CTS works? Physical check will be truncated with the presenting bank. Truncated means it is imagely converted. The physical check is converted to image. Point of transaction will be decided by each individual member bank. Now what happens, to avail this facility, the bank should be a member of this group, truncation group, and truncation activity where it has to happen, the bankers will put together will decide. For example, if the Union Bank, then the what do you call as a Union Bank and Syndicate Bank and all these banks put together will decide which bank has to provide the facility of truncation. Suppose if State Bank of India takes the responsibility of truncation, that truncation bank is called as a centralized truncation bank. Any check which is electronically received from any of the banks, this SBI, which has taken the responsibility of truncating activity, will get involved electronically and process it. So it is a one bank which takes the responsibility of all these banks customers for transfer of these checks and all. So therefore, it is decided by the individual member bank where the point of truncation has to happen. So there are certain kinds of clusters created around. For example, if you want to withdraw the money from Belgaum, in money from SBI Belgaum, so SBI Belgaum will have its own, it's a member of some truncation system. That is why when it becomes a member, it is given a MIRC code, MICR code. When the MICR code, what is that MICR code? Magnetic link character recognition technology is the code given to that particular bank. It is a membership code. Once that code is there, that check will be truncated very fast. If you see any check today, you will find out some information there. IFSC code, then MICR code. MICR code refers to the what you call as a banker number for truncation activity. So this number is issued by the centralized bankers to its members, and only that member checks are truncated in that particular area. So this is what you call as a point of transaction will be there. Settlement will be generated on the basis of current MICR number code line and link that we already seen. Grayscale technology will be developed for imaging. There are certain gray scales available. If you see the check today, some painted gray area is shown. It is nothing but the data stored about the customer. Earlier, checks were issued by the banks on the counter by their own, this without having the name and bank account of the customer. Customer has to put his bank account and sign on that earlier. But today, what happens, these checks are issued by the centralized truncating authority, where these checks are having a gray line. In the gray line, there are certain electronic information stored. When you scan that particular check, that gray area will provide all the information about the customer, and immediately this is identified by the electronic devices, and it is decided whether the check is accepted or should be rejected. So that is, images will be preserved for 8 years. Any image of the check can be preserved for 8 years. The centralized agency per clearing location will act as a image warehouse for the banks. And public key infrastructure will be developed to protect image and data flow. So network and all that. So where the computers will have that data storage and data mining, all these things will happen. In the earlier system, if you present the check to the bank, which is sent to the check to the clearing house, after which the money would be credited to your account. It is usually taking 3 to 4 days for the physical transfer of the check and amount to transfer. But CTS clears the checks electronically. Physical transaction of a check between the bank has ended now. There is no physical transaction. And now it on average take 1 day to clear the transfer of the amount from any bank. If you see the check which you are having the check in your hand today, for truncation purposes, some things are very important. So those things are developed. Electronically developed. One is the bank logo. Whenever the scanning is made of any check in any branch, this is representing the logo. This is read by the scanning machine, and it will identify which bank it is because it is having a magnetic layer of its own. And then if you see the account number, for account number also there is some gray line where the customer total account details are mentioned. Account number, name and everything. So next one is a rupee. The amount what you write is also read properly, and that can also be understood while the transaction is being made. And then there is a one more part called as a signature space indicator, where you sign in that particular signature line, it will understand whether your signature is correct or not. If signature does not match in a truncation, the problem is created by the electronic devices. So this is how these checks are today developed and they are being presented. So it is easily read. Important informations are easily read by the scanning machine. Images processed in the truncation system. So there is no error in settlement of the check, and check settlement is very fast. If the image is perfectly there and if it is satisfying the requirement, electronically the fund transfer happens to that particular bank and customer will get the credit of that money, withdrawal credit of that money to his account directly. Then the benefits of CTS. If you see the benefits, what are the advantages of the CTS? One is benefits to you. Need no fear of loss of the check in transit. There is a advantages to the customer. One is earlier, whenever the customer is presenting the check to the bank, sometimes during the postal transit or during the um, is a bank's transportation, if something happens, if the check is mutilated, the customer is under trouble because he cannot get the new another check back. So mutilation was the danger point, but now there is no such kind of mutilation because once the check is scanned, it is stored in the memory and the information is sent for the settlement to the settlement bank. And there's faster credit of funds to your account. Very fastly, account is transferred, money is transferred to your account. More secure, lesser chances of fraud. There is no secure. See, more secure because you cannot forge the signatures and all that because magnetic clarifications are made where the fraud of the check frauds, especially in overwriting the check amount or what do you call as forging the signatures and all things are stopped. Multi-city checks can be cleared on the same day. Multi-city means from Belgaum to Hubli. Settlement is doing on the same day. No need. It is not taking a 4 or 5 days time to settle the accounts. Now, if you see the benefits to the banks, also you will identify. The first one is reduction in the cost of the transit and errors due to manual work. These are all reduced. So now, first of all, it is a cost effective. No need for transportation cost or sending a one person physically to another bank. All these nonsense things have totally stopped because of CTS system. Next one is reconciliation verification will also be faster. The reconciliation or verification, anything can be made, whether the signature is original or not of the customer itself. So all these things are easily understood. Then shorter clearance cycle, because of this banker is also providing a fast services to the customer. Reduction risk involving the proper sharing, reduction risks involving paper sharing, whether it's a paper saving is happening, no need to write an application or send a note to another bank for clarifications and all that. All these things have been stopped. So these are the two important advantages that we have seen, the advancements in the technological advancement in banking we have seen. In next classes, we will see the home banking and internet banking developments and ATMs and all related things, debit cards and credit cards in days to come. So I end this session here, the lecture series, and we will see the remaining aspects in the next time.